So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our offseason rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, last July, the Sixers had the free agency that they thought was going to save their team. Of course, bringing in Paul George on a 4-year max contract. They extended Tyrese Maxey. They gave Joel Embiid a few more years. And this team basically went all in. And they went into this season with about the highest expectations you could possibly have. They thought they were going to be competing and contending with the defending champs. And that didn't happen. And nothing close to that ever happened. From day one, it just seemed like something was always off with this team, whether it was the injury bug, the rotations they were putting out there, something was wrong. And this has really been the season of hell for the Philadelphia 76ers. They are not in a very fun spot right now, and they've officially been eliminated. So here today, we're going to be doing an offseason rebuild with them in hopes of hopefully getting them a championship. Now, as always, let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section. We are on a pretty good pace right now, and I think our weekly schedule has been pretty good. We're doing 3 LeBron-era rebuilds, an off-season rebuild, and a challenge as well. So that's going to continue to be the pace and be the schedule moving forward. If you guys have any other video ideas you're liking to see, let me know down below in the comment section. So I'm excited for this one today, man. The Sixers are, in a pretty tough spot. I'm not going to lie to you. They definitely could be in a much better position, but that's the fun of it. That's the goal today. Let's get into it. We now find ourselves here in the 2025 offseason. If you guys have been watching these offseason rebuilds, you know the way they're going to work. We're going to be doing 3 off-seasons, 3 regular seasons. So you get an extra offseason, which is always kind of fun to see. So let's go ahead. Let's discuss this Sixers roster right now, and then we will get into all of the moves that we will certainly be making this offseason. Now, first and foremost, I'm sure many of you know this. If this is your first time watching one of these rebuilds, they are not realistic. Got it? Good. All right, let's talk about it. Tyrese Maxey may be the one bright spot for this team. I mean, had a couple up and down moments throughout the season, but in my opinion was easily their best and most consistent player without a doubt this year. So, he's still only 24 years old, has obviously already got the extension, and he's really going to be the guy I'm going to build around here today. Now, it doesn't mean Joel Embiid is just going to be dumped for nothing, but I have much more confidence right now in Maxey, if you will. Now, behind him, we have a 24-year-old Jared Butler. We have an almost 40-year-old Kyle Lowry, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Jeff Doughton. I'm not loving any of those options behind Maxey, so we'll certainly look to upgrade that position at some point. But Maxey, obviously the point guard of the future for this team, both here in 2K and in real life. Now, the shooting guard spot. There have not been a lot of good things about this Sixers team this season. The one thing that has been really, really good is Quentin Grimes. He has been fantastic for them. He has been absolutely balling out, and I'm really interested to see how much he ends up getting paid this offseason. Of course, came over in the Caleb Martin trade with the Dallas Mavericks, and again, very excited to see what we end up doing with him here today, because as of now, he's the highest overall shooting guard on this team. Now, I mean, he's going to be the starter the whole time. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case, but actually, does it have his numbers in here? No, it doesn't. Okay, it didn't 100% pull his numbers from the way he's actually been playing, but a really good season nonetheless. Now, Jared McCain was likely going to be the rookie of the year until he ended up getting injured and being ruled out for the rest of the season. So, much like Tyrese Maxey, he's also going to be a nice young guard building block here on this team. And again, as his progression goes, we'll figure out if he could potentially be the starter of the whole video. Eric Gordon, probably not in my long-term plans. Now, the small forward spot, let's talk about it. Paul George was one of, if not the biggest free agents last offseason. I think we all obviously knew that. The way NBA free agency works these days, it's not like it was just 8-9 years ago. A lot of these guys will end up taking the big contract extensions and then just forcing a trade if they don't like the scenario they were in. Paul George did not do that. He opted just to leave the Los Angeles Clippers in free agency. He did not like the contracts they were offering him and opted to sign basically a max deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. And it has not worked out at all whatsoever. It's been terrible. Paul George, of course, is injured and pretty much has been injured this entire season. But the way I look at PG right now is I still think he's a good player and he can definitely be there for important moments. But my thing is just general reliability. Night in and night out, how is he going to look if he is that third option for the Sixers? And again, on paper, a Paul George third option is a really, really solid one. It's probably one of the better ones in the league. But of course, Paul George has just not been good for this Sixers team this season. I have no idea what we're going to do with him here today. That contract is awful. That overall is not getting better. And this signing has just been an absolute disaster. So, we'll figure it out. Again, we're not in a realistic rebuild. I'm assuming the Sixers will likely look to move him this offseason in real life. I just don't know if there's a team that's delusional enough out there to actually take on this deal. So we'll sort that out. You got Justin Edwards here, who's actually been, a little bit of a bright spot for this team. Of course, only 21 years of age, and you got Ricky Council the fourth as well. So some okay depth there behind PG. Now we move to the power forward spot. A little bit of a gaping hole here, if you will. And this isn't a shot at Oubre or Yabusele. I just don't necessarily think either of them are going to be a starter for us on a potential championship team. And now outside of that, both of them are going to be free agents, so they're both, of course, eligible to leave if they would like. So, I think they're both fine role players with this team. I just don't know if either of them is going to be a starting four for me, hopefully, on an eventual championship team. And then O'Shea Brissett, who is just a depth piece they ended up bringing in. He's basically just a guy to play games because nobody else on this Sixers team is really available. Let's talk about the man of the hour, Joel Embiid, who has gotten a lot of contract extensions worth a lot of money, and honestly, I don't really know why they extended Embiid. I don't. I do not understand it at the time. I mean, again, you want to get one of your best players locked up long-term, pretty much as long as possible, but a guy with the injury history of Joel Embiid, it just didn't really feel like a smart deal at the time, and now they're kind of stuck with them. I mean, 4 years, basically $250 million is... that's not something you can just dump if you'd like to. So, the thing with Embiid is going to be health. It always is. We know how dominant he is when he's on the court in the regular season. But for me, it's really just seeing about what he can do health-wise moving forward. So hopefully that's sorted out because, as much as I hate the Sixers as a Celtics fan, the basketball fan in me really wants to see Joel Embiid actually have a healthy playoff run. Behind him is going to be Andre Drummond. You got a Dembona in here as well. I think the biggest thing this Sixers team needs is just some more reliable bigs, and they obviously don't have a lot of that going around right now. So, that's the roster. Of course, on paper, when healthy, it's a pretty damn good team. Of course, health is the biggest, kind of issue that limited the Philadelphia 76ers this year. Now, let's get into the offseason. LeBron officially calls it a career. Same with, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, who, of course, were members of our team. We'll take a look at the Hall of Fame here. LeBron and CP3. Jersey retirements. And then this is going to be the biggest moment of this video so far because as we are pretty much all well aware, the Philadelphia 76ers first-round draft pick this year is going to the Oklahoma City Thunder unless it is a top 6 selection. The 76ers have obviously been trying to tank to make sure that happens. Now, is 2K going to be nice to me today? I have no idea. So, I know for a fact the pick is top 6 protected. And next year in 26, it's top 4. In 27, it's top 4 as well. If this pick falls at number 6 and it says it's going to Oklahoma City, I'm taking it back because 2K is wrong. I know I am right. And let's just see what ends up happening here. We're projected number 5 right now. That would be very okay with me. What's going to happen? It falls to number 8. It falls to number 8. That sucks. That's like the worst scenario possible for the Philadelphia 76ers right now. Outside of the pick maybe being number 7 overall, right? I mean, 2 spots away from having the pick. Lottery gods were not on our side today. Will they be in real life for the 76ers? Who knows? Look at that. The San Antonio Spurs got a little bit more luck in the lottery, and now they're going to be able to pair Cooper Flag with Victor Wembanyama. But no, we are not going to get our pick today. It is top 6 protected. It fell to 8. The ping pong balls did not bounce in our favor, and of course, we now are in the situation we are in. I do not know how Nick Nurse, what is his, I guess the vibe of him with Sixers Nation. I don't understand, and I really don't know if he's very well liked or not. I feel like when they obviously moved on from Doc Rivers and eventually Nick Nurse came in, he probably felt like a savior because Doc Rivers is not a good head coach. I think pretty much the majority of basketball fans are in agreement on that. I don't really know where Nick Nurse kind of stands right now with the Sixers. Is he going to be let go this offseason? It wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but, he's not the physician on the team. He's the head coach. So I'm not going to fire him right now. Those ratings are still pretty good. Whether or not those ratings are based off that 2019 Toronto run alone is very much up for interpretation now that we're, 6-7 years away from that. But we're going to hang on to him for now. He's, safe for the moment. Let's approach the 2025 draft because, of course, we saw what happened with our pick. It means we now have, our next year's first-round pick. But let's be honest with each other. Our next year's first-round pick was almost zero chance going to be in the top 4. So, yeah, that really sucks. It would have been nice to have a selection in the lottery, but not the situation we find ourselves in here today. There's not a lot of draft capital with this team that is, eligible to be moved. You can see what we're working with here right now. I might have to find some other trades a different way. So let's see what we can do. I want to try to find a way to move into the first round of this draft, so we're going to try to swing a deal here with the Atlanta Hawks and acquire the 13th overall selection. Now, Ricky Council maybe could have been an important role player for this team, but he's expiring after this season, and I'd be willing to move on from him along with the 5th overall pick in round number 2 in hopes of acquiring said pick at number 13. So I'm not giving up another first for this. If I can get it done with seconds, I would be pretty much more than thrilled with that being the case, and that's fine by me. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I tried to swing some Paul George trades. They were not happening. I am still going to look to try to trade Paul George. It is just not going to be here on draft night. Wow, the Spurs did not take Cooper Flagg. They took Caspers. Flagg goes to Utah. Ace Bailey is a member of the Portland Trailblazers. Dylan Harper. Okay, so there's, might still be some talented players here. I see Hugo Gonzalez sitting here. Asa Newell, Conrad Knuppel. Is it Knuppel or Knippel? I think it's Knippel. All right, I'm not really sure here. We're probably not going to be getting a starter no matter what we do, so I'll go ahead and take Hugo Gonzalez. I know I've had somewhat success with him in the past. He's going to be a 74 overall, team player options. Now, I actually didn't know Oubre had a team option. I thought he was just an unrestricted free agent. Drummond declines his player option, and I will bring back Edwards and Butler if they could be trade pieces. Gershon will be qualified. Same, of course, with Quentin Grimes. He's been fantastic. And again, really no matter what I did there with either the qualifying offers or the team options, this team wasn't going to have any real cap space anyways. So we're not going to be signing a free agent right now, at least not one that's, uber talented. I would like to extend Grimes, so if he wants $18 million, I'm pretty cool with that. I'm going to hang on to Yabusele. I'd like to retain him, so we'll match whatever he gets. But outside of that, I'm pretty set with letting, Andre Drummond go, and then we'll make some marginal upgrades kind of around the edges. So I'll obviously go ahead and wait on Yabusele. He'll likely be my backup power forward heading into next season. I'm not sure what I want to do with Oubre. He could either be the backup 3, he could be the backup 4, but again, I'd like to just make a significant upgrade at this power forward spot. So, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do there yet, but I'll show you guys once I find it. We are finally moving on from Paul George. It is a blockbuster. It is one with the San Antonio Spurs, and here's how it's going to look. Paul George, Justin Edwards, and Jared Butler all going to San Antonio, and in return, we're getting ourselves Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. Now, ultimately, getting away from the Paul George contract without giving up a single first-round draft pick, even in an unrealistic rebuild, feels like a really big win. And I scoured every single possible option to move on from PG, and this was the one that I felt was best for this team. So, neither of these guys are superstars. I think we can all probably very well agree on that. But you know what? Vassell's the same overall. He's making significantly less money than PG, and of course, he is 11 years younger as well. So I think that makes a whole lot of sense for us. Paul George is going to do nothing but regress. I'll see you guys with whatever's next. We're going to be making another move and upgrading our power forward spot. Now, I moved Kelly Oubre from the 4 to the 3. His overall went up to an 83 overall, which is really good news. He's going to be expiring after this season, and I think I'd like to move on from him and upgrade a position that we obviously very well know we need to. Cameron Johnson's going to slide into that starting power forward spot. I think it's a pretty good fit. Keldon Johnson, of course, just came over in the Devin Vassell trade, / Paul George trade, whatever you want to call it. And again, while I think he would have been an impactful role player for this team, I'm always going to value starters over bench pieces. We're also getting Thomas Sobers in this deal, who looks like he was the 22nd pick out of Georgetown in this past year's draft. So we give up a first-round pick swap with the Clippers in 2029, but again, making upgrades kind of all around the edges, I think it's a pretty good deal for us. So here's what we're working with for now. I'm going to move Hugo Gonzalez to the backup small forward spot. He's 6'6". I'm not terribly worried about that. Again, he's young, will hopefully develop well. We have to find ourselves a backup for Maxey. We're good at the 2-guard spot. I don't know which guy I'm going to start. I'm leaning McCain. I think there's a little bit more upside there and have Grimes kind of be that 6th man with the second unit, but again, that's very much TBD. Going to be Devin Vassell, Hugo Gonzalez here at the 3, Cam Johnson. I actually will play Thomas Sobers, who's only 19 years of age, and then I'll give a Dembona a little bit of run here behind Joel Embiid. The guy's only 22, and he is on a multi-year contract. So at this point, it's about finding ourselves a backup point guard. Dare I say we have an old reunion with an old friend? I don't know how Sixers fans would feel about that one, but quite honestly, he looks like he's one of the younger options here, and I may take it. I also have to think about what I'm going to do with Gershon Yabusele, who's a restricted free agent. Now, maybe I actually go ahead and play him behind Johnson. I low-key kind of forgot he was still restricted. So Sobers can likely get some rotation minutes at some point, or he'll just be a trade piece, eventually down the line. But I guess I'll bring back Markelle Fultz. I'll just piss off Sixers fans even more. I'm going to wait for Yabusele at this point. Of course, I'll match whatever he gets. If not, he'll just pick up his qualifying offer. I'll see you guys at the start of year number 1 here in Philly. Now officially the start of the first season in Philadelphia. We had a pretty busy offseason. We made a lot of major moves to this team, and I think ultimately we are the best version we possibly could have been in this scenario. Now, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain will be my backcourt. I'm a little bit nervous. It's slightly undersized, but ultimately McCain, I think, is going to develop just a little bit faster than Quentin Grimes would have. Got Devin Vassell here starting at my 3 spot. Okay, I didn't realize Cam Johnson went down a few overalls. Don't love seeing that. Joel Embiid also went down a few overalls. I just kind of expect that at this point. Now, the decision we'll have to make eventually will be pretty tough because he eventually gets down to like an 85 overall by year 3, which is not going to be great for a guy we're going to be paying $60+ million annually to. Bench unit will be led by Quentin Grimes. Gershon Yabusele ended up accepting his qualifying offer, so he will still be extension eligible after this season, if you will. Hugo Gonzalez, who we drafted 13th overall, my backup small forward, of course, brought back Mr. Markelle Fultz, and finally a Dembona rounding out this 10-man rotation. So, it's pretty good. And of course, we have the benefit of playing with injuries off and unrealistic trades, but, the Sixers aren't that far off from having a pretty good team next season if everything goes, right, which is, again, a huge if. But this is the squad. I fully expect to be in the playoffs here, hopefully competing for championship at the end of year number 1. I have officially come to a conclusion. That conclusion offers 2 possible explanations. The first, that Nick Nurse is just the worst coach in the history of basketball. I don't think that's the case. I think what is incredibly more likely is the fact that the 76ers are just a cursed franchise, a cursed operation, if you will, because this team goes 30-52. I've had teams of all rookies win more than this. I genuinely do not understand it. We obviously are going to have to take a deep look in the mirror this offseason and adjust with whatever the hell went wrong with this team, because there's talent here. There's no injuries on. There's no chemistry on. I don't know. I really don't. SGA is your MVP. The one good thing is that we have our draft pick this year. There's no protections on it. It is outright our pick, which is good. Cooper Flagg went number 2 overall to the Jazz. He wins Rookie of the Year. John Collins, now a member of the Dallas Mavericks. He's your 6th man of the year. You got Giannis winning Depoy. TJD most improved. Luka wins Clutch Player of the Year. 72-10 in Cleveland. Kenny Atkinson. Heck of a job, pal. Yeah, again, I don't really know how 30 wins is possible with this team. I do not understand it. The Bucks were almost equally as bad as us, but yeah, man, something's just off with this team, and we are going to have to certainly sort that out pretty damn quickly. I mean, you look at the numbers here, nobody really, tremendously disappointed me from what I was expecting. I mean, maybe a little bit more out of Quentin Grimes, but again, he's in a 6th-man role. I don't know. I do not know. I mean, I was hoping for a little bit more out of Embiid, I guess. I mean, we're never going to get this Embiid again, but God, I expected more. I really, really did. Let's sim through the playoffs. Of course, Nick Nurse's time here has come to an end, and it will very, very quickly. It is going to be SGA and the Thunder going up against Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers, and the Thunder sweep SGA Finals MVP. All right, it is off-season time. Of course, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the draft lottery. We're going to have our pick this year no matter what, so it is projected to be number 6. Maybe we'll finally get a little lucky in the lottery. We do not. We fall to 8 once again. Fuck this game. All right, we're firing Nick Nurse. The ratings are good. You can have your opinion about him, whatever you want to think. He was just not the guy for me. So Stauffer will offer. I'll also throw some money at Joe Mazzulla. And then finally, I don't really know. That's Kemba. Mark Daignault's sitting here. I throw some money at him as well. So hopefully we get one of these guys. We get everybody but Mark Daignault. I don't think I've gotten Stauffer in a minute, actually, and I need a coach with legitimately perfect rating. So, Mike Stauffer, welcome to Philly. All right, we approach the draft. We have the 8th overall pick. Obviously, a couple different things we could do with said pick, and honestly, I haven't really decided yet. So, with whatever we do, I'll certainly show you guys. I've decided to draft somebody with the 8th overall pick. Now, whether or not they actually are in this rotation, maybe we end up trading them, I have no idea. We're just going to draft somebody here. Darius Acuff Jr. certainly fills a position of need. I think he probably makes the most sense for this team. Welcome to the squad. From here on out, I think I have to be relatively careful with the moves I make, because while this team is talented on paper, something has gone wrong seemingly every time we've gone about making a move. I mean, I think the talent is evident. It's just about whether or not this team fits. Now, of course, we have a new head coach as well, so that is also a possibility. But Joel Embiid is not getting any higher in the overall department. Hell, he's actually going to do nothing but regress. So I have to be kind of cautiously optimistic there. And I do think I want to make one other upgrade to this team. Oh, okay. We pulled off a trade with the Atlanta Hawks, and we made a pretty sizable upgrade at our power forward spot. Now, we sent out Cam Johnson, Markelle Fultz, Thomas Sobers, who was a player we got last year in a trade, and then the 2028 first-round pick via the Los Angeles Clippers. In return, we got ourselves Jalen Johnson, who is not only younger than Cam Johnson, is also a better player, and again, I think will develop long-term. Not saying Cam Johnson was going to continue to regress, but I certainly wouldn't have ruled that out as a possibility. So Jalen Johnson will come in, take over at my power forward spot. We're going to re-sign Yabusele. We are good here and pretty much good everywhere else. So, at this point, I understand that we're going to see some regression, from a guy like Joel Embiid, but I think at this point, we also have to just kind of run with it. I don't think we're at the point where I trade Embiid. I could also consider some options, but unless something out there so perfect that I almost cannot pass it up comes along, I don't really foresee myself making a trade here. Like, LaMelo Ball would be a lot of fun, but what the hell are we going to do with him? I mean, he's a fantastic player. I'm not denying that. I just think, again, leaves a pretty gaping hole on this team. I have not seen a single trade here that would make me tell myself that I think trading Joel Embiid would be a good idea. So, this is a pretty okay one, but I'm not going to do it. We're going to hang on to Embiid. I'm going to make it my goal getting him a ring. And, we'll just wait on Yabusele. He's once again restricted, so we'll either match whatever deal he gets, or we'll certainly just accept him taking another qualifying offer. I'll see you guys at the start of year 2. Year 1 in Philly was an absolute disaster. We thought we had hit the reset button and made enough moves where our team would be competitive. That, of course, was not the case. And we went ahead and made some other changes this offseason, brought in a new head coach, and we are really hoping this is the squad that can get it done, or at least get us to, a competitive level. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Devin Vassell, Jalen Johnson, Joel Embiid, who, of course, is going down in overalls. It's what I expected here, and hopefully this is the time we can get it done. Because if we do not at least get really close to winning a championship this season, I think the plug will probably be pulled on the Joel Embiid era here in Philadelphia. Quentin Grimes will remain my sixth man. Hugo Gonzalez is developing nicely. Gershon Yabusele picked up his qualifying offer once again. Darius Acuff Jr. we drafted. He'll be the backup point guard. And finally, Adem Bona, still my backup big man. All right, man. See you guys at the end of year number 2. It is extremely rare that I do something like this, but we are about a quarter of the way into the season and we are under 500. We are pulling the plug on the Joel Embiid era here in Philadelphia. We are doing a 1-for-1 player swap with the Phoenix Suns, and we are going to land ourselves Devin Booker, who is 3 overalls higher than Embiid at this point. He's 2 years younger, and again, I'm not saying this is going to solve all of our problems. Hell, it's going to create some more issues for me right off the rip. But we have to make a move. I did not want to enter this season and just think that, hey, it's just another throwaway year. So thank you for everything, Joel. It unfortunately was just not working out here. So yeah, a lot of mid-season trades. I don't know how many there's going to be, but of course now with the addition of Booker, we currently sit at 11 and 12, and we are entering December. Not good enough. We found our new starting center. It's going to be Walker Kessler here, who is now somehow a member of the Toronto Raptors. We are sending Devin Vassell, O'Shea Brissett, and a 2031 first-round pick to Toronto. And again, it's a move that we're making that I think is necessary. There's a gaping hole at our center spot right now. Kessler's going to take over. So new 10-man rotation. Maxey and Darius Acuff Jr., McCain and Grimes. I'm playing Booker at the 3. Again, it's not a natural fit. It's something we'll have to decide on this offseason, but for, right now in the limited moves we are able to make, he'll be my starting small forward. Jalen Johnson, Gershon Yabusele, and finally Kessler in Adem Bona. So, yeah, it's not often I make 2 blockbuster deals mid-season, but this thing was just going in the wrong direction, and it was never getting better. So let's set that rotation. I'll show you guys before we finish up simming year number 2. At this point, we are 11 and 12. We decided to make a couple major trades, and I've now finalized the new rotation moving forward. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Devin Booker, Jalen Johnson, and Walker Kessler. Bench unit is relatively the same. It's going to be Quentin Grimes, Hugo Gonzalez, Gershon Yabusele, Darius Acuff Jr., and Adem Bona. So that's what we're working with. Again, it's probably not set in stone heading into year 3, but for the rest of year 2, this is what the team's going to look like. I'll see you guys at the end of it. I'm really happy I made the moves that I did mid-season because we turned this thing around. We ended up winning 57 games, which, considering we were, 11 and 12 or something like that, I think is a really good ending point for year number 2 here. Now, Nikola Jokic winning the MVP award, Cameron Boozer, Rookie of the Year. You got Jaden Ivey, now a member of the Trailblazers, coming off the bench. Wemby wins Depoy, Liam McNeely, Most Improved, Anthony Edwards, Clutch Player of the Year, Steve Kerr. Young Steve Kerr, who's still been hitting that same pose. We are, I believe, one of the top seeds here in the East. We are the top seed. So that's really good news. Again, it just felt like it was time. And Sixers fans, you may be mad at me for moving on from Embiid, but quite honestly, I think it was time for everybody. And I'm happy that I made the move when I did. Because look where the Suns are. Oh my God. That's where the Suns are. And again, I've played this scenario out, and I know what Embiid's overall looks like. By the time next season comes around, it's like mid-80s, so it wasn't working. It really wasn't. Here are the numbers. Devin Booker led this team in scoring. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Jalen Johnson, Gonzalez, Grimes, Kessler, Acuff, Yabusele, and then Bona. Led in rebounds by Kessler, led in assists by Booker. Okay, for the first time in this video, we are here in the playoffs. We are taking on the New York Knicks, who haven't really made any changes in their starting 5. They've added Davion Mitchell, Koa Pete, and AJ Green as some bench pieces. That is certainly not the easiest first-round matchup I'm going to find myself in, but we're up 3-0, and we sweep them. Okay, we are now moving on to the Chicago Bulls. What the fuck? Okay, Luka Doncic has now decided to join the Bulls. So he's here with Kobe White, Patrick Williams, Matas Buzelis, Smith, Ty Jerome off the bench, Malik Beasley. That's a pretty talented Bulls team, if I do say so myself. But we have yet to lose a playoff game. We sweep them. And the 7-seed Brooklyn Nets, who have Trae Young now leading the charge. They're on a bit of a Cinderella run, kind of similar to Trae's Atlanta Hawks run in 2021. And we are taking them on in the Eastern Conference Finals. We finally drop a playoff game. We drop 2K. Come on. Don't do this. Thank you. We are on to the NBA Finals. We are taking on the defending champs, SGA, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. We, of course, are now led by Devin Booker. Yeah, their team is just unbelievably talented. Did they get VJ Edgecombe with our pick? They did. They drafted their starting shooting guard with a pick that would have been ours, but no, it is not. We split the first two. Lose game 3, lose game 4. We lose in 5. And Chet Holmgren, your finals MVP. Well, the one thing that I have going for me is that I think we made the right move at the right time. I think it was ultimately time. Oh, wow, Paul George. Holy shit. All right, man. Let's get into the final offseason. As a whole, I think this team's in a pretty good spot. There might be 1 or 2 other moves I do make, but ultimately I am pretty content with this team at the moment. So Stauffer was going to be a little iffy for job security, but again, I think it was relatively clear relatively quickly that Embiid was more of the problem than the head coach was. So maybe Nick Nurse got fired for nothing. We're bringing back all of our team player options. Alex Fudge, no thank you. And then we will hit free agency here where Yabusele, I'll probably sign him and then maybe trade him. And we saw his overall go down a bit, and I do think there's one other bench move I'd like to upgrade as well. So this is the team. I'll see you guys with the trade. We're going to make a slight move and upgrade our backup power forward spot. I think I would take PJ Washington over Gershon Yabusele. Call it a sign and trade. Call it whatever you want. It's not a realistic rebuild. So he's 3 years younger. He's 1 overall higher, and ultimately I would take him as the better player. If you will. So welcome to the team. All right. At this point, I was a little concerned about having, Maxey, McCain, and Booker be my 1 through 3. Maybe we lack a little bit of size and physicality there, but, it worked pretty damn well until we ran into a juggernaut in the Oklahoma City Thunder last year. So, we have a lot of youth on this bench. I fully expect some development to go pretty well, and I do think this team's in a really good spot. So I'll see you guys at the start of the 3rd and final season here in Philly. It is officially the start of year number 3. We have gotten to the NBA Finals after a disastrous start to year number 2. This offseason, there was not many major moves. We have seen some nice progression from some of our players, and I think this is easily the best shot we've had to win a championship yet. Now, the starting 5 is going to remain exactly the same. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Devin Booker, Jalen Johnson, and Walker Kessler. Bench unit is now led by Darius Acuff Jr., who is actually the same exact overall as Quentin Grimes, but I don't know. 2K's recommending he be the 6th man, so he'll be the 6th man. Quentin Grimes will be behind him. Hugo Gonzalez developing quite nicely. He's up to an 83. PJ Washington is going to be the backup power forward. And finally, Adem Bona rounding out the 10-man rotation. So full season with this squad now together. I think there is a really good chance we are back in the finals, hopefully winning it this time. So Nikola Jokic joined the Golden State Warriors, and he is out here still winning MVPs. Insane. We go 70-12, which is obviously our best season yet. It's not even close. And hopefully we are at the point where there's no more hurdles to jump. There's no more question marks about this team. It is simply time to win a championship. Bryson Tilley, your rookie of the year. He's a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. You got Nolan Traore as 6th man of the year. Wemby wins another DPOY. You got Mikal Brown Jr., most improved. Giannis is now a Clipper. We have seen some serious superstar movement throughout the 3 years of this rebuild. And Mike Stauffer does win Coach of the Year. So likely means we had the best record in the league. I am hoping that we are at the point where I do not have to really sweat about beating anybody here in a series, because that's never fun. Devin Booker leading this team in scoring. You got Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, 3 really solid scoring options. Jalen Johnson, Darius Acuff Jr., Gonzalez, Kessler, Grimes, Washington, and then Bona. Led in rebounds by Kessler, led in assists by Johnson. All right, it is time for the final playoff run. It is the Indiana Pacers here in round number 1. They actually won the East in year number 1. And then last year, I don't really think we ever saw them at any point. So, yeah, they're, pretty good team on paper. I think we are better. We are up 3-2 right now, and that series does go to 6, but we do win it. We're now moving on to the Miami Heat, who have added Scoot Henderson, Tyler Hero still here, Liam McNeely, Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Topic. You got Jovan Sanan. Okay, pretty talented Miami team. I do say so myself. We are up 3-0, though, and we do sweep them. It is now us and the Detroit Pistons here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, they're good. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Cade's a superstar, no doubt about that in my mind, but I think we're the better team. I genuinely believe that. So we are up 2-1 at this point, up 3-1 We end up winning in 5. And we are taking on Nikola Jokic in the Golden State. Oh, no, we're taking on... Really? You get swept, you still give the guy conference finals MVP? I mean, give me a break. What are the Kings, by the way? Wow, the Kings are an 8 seed. Josh Giddey, Jaden Ivey, Dalton Connect. Really? I don't really think we're... I think we're just much better. I genuinely believe that. We're up 3-1. We're heading back to Philly here for a closeout game 5. Just get it done. I don't want to sweat about this. Just blow them out of the water. Get it done. We'll chat. Well, very low scoring game. We'll chat a bit about the state of the 76ers as we pretty much always do, and I'll see you guys in there. Now, there probably won't be a ton of gameplay just because we obviously have this one pretty much in control, and this has already been a pretty long video, but I'll spend a couple minutes here kind of just dissecting where I think the 76ers are as a team. You know, for me, they just have so much money tied up in guys who are so injury prone. And but when I say guys, I mean 2 players specifically. I mean Paul George and I mean Joel Embiid. And it's not like Paul George is like a walking injury, but he's 35-ish, whatever years old. He's not getting any younger. I don't know how much better his play is going to get. We know what Joel Embiid is when healthy. The problem is he's seemingly never healthy. I do not understand why he played in the Olympics. I mean, I do understand why he probably wanted to win a medal, but I think when you look at just where Embiid was at in his career, coming off a pretty damn disappointing, 2024 season as a whole, where again, he missed so much time. Came into this season with a lot of expectations, and I think honestly, if he didn't play in those Olympics, and again, I'm not saying he completely hurt himself in those Olympics, and that's the sole reason why the Sixers are where they're at right now, but respectfully, as an NBA team, if I'm looking at this, the Olympics are completely meaningless. As a person, as an American, I understand they're not meaningless. But if I am, the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'm saying, well, if Joel was healthy enough to play at all in the Olympics, he better damn well be healthy for this season. And of course he hasn't been. And again, it's so tough to see because I know Joel Embiid a lot of the time gets a pretty unfair rap for how good he is in the regular season. And the majority of the problem is that he hasn't been able to be 100% come playoff time. And he has been really bad for a lot of the time he has spent in the playoffs. He really has been. I mean, I look at that Boston series from 2023, legitimately had the series in their hands, up 3-2, game 6 at home, and he did fucking nothing in that fourth quarter. And from there, it's really felt like it's just been all downhill. It really has been. And I'm not really optimistic about the state of the 76ers heading in to the 25-26 season. They're going to be very, very limited in the moves they can make. So again, nobody's going to take that Paul George contract off your hands. So you have to sit there and pray that he miraculously not only has a healthy season, but can maybe get back to his final form where he was with the Clippers. That's pretty much all you got at this point. And then again, keeping Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and some of those guys healthy is going to be really big for you. So that's all I got on the Sixers. I still fucking hate them. Best of luck to you. It took 3 seasons, but we finally got it done. Jalen Johnson actually going to come in and be your final MVP. Really solid series out of him. He shot the ball well, put up really good all-around numbers. Congratulations. All right, well, this was not the way I thought this one was going to go. Internally in my head, I sometimes am able to kind of plan out the way I see a rebuild going. I did not expect a Devin Booker for Joel Embiid trade. It kind of just came up when I put Embiid in the trade finder. It was too good to pass up, and it looks like the risk very, very well paid off for us. So, yeah, Sixers fans, I'm sorry you didn't get to see Embiid lead your team to a ring here today. If it makes you feel any better, I don't think you're going to get to see it in real life either. So, that'll do it for me. Let me know which team you want me to do next down below in the comment section. Of course, we are only doing teams that have been mathematically eliminated on a week-to-week basis. Of course, by the time next week comes around, I'm assuming there's going to be at least 1 or 2 more teams that have been, completely wiped out of the mix. So, yeah, man, I enjoyed this one. I hope you guys did as well. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.